Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.
Hi, folks. I am Joseph Snedeker, and this is my anchor voice for the podcast called Mr. Curiosity Brown Bag Monday. How does that sound, big guy?
Listen, you sound just like my mother.
Is that how I talk as an anchor?
All right, so I'm here with two professionals. We have Michael G. Stanton from Bold Gold Media, and we have John Meyer from WNEP TV. And the funny part is I do that voice because, and I'm not trying to be humble, I'm really not, and it shows. I'm the guy with no background in broadcasting or journalism, and you two are stacked with it.
But
Isn't
in
that
theory,
weird?
though, now you can't say it because you've been in broadcasting for 30 years or something. So you
Right.
technically are.
Yeah, but you guys took all those journalism classes,
Yeah.
writing,
Yeah, yeah.
speech. I took one speech, one writing comp in college. That was it.
I
you
even
could tell.
took the
And you
course.
can tell, I know, that's the whole point.
I even took the course in college to learn how to talk like a broadcaster.
Is that true?
And it actually was really funny because I went to Syracuse and there were lots of New Yorkers and guys from Boston that were in the class with really strong accents.
Oh, right.
And to see the professor try to get them have broadcast English was hilarious.
So they really did that?
They
I didn't
did.
know that.
They did. At
There's a
Syracuse,
thing,
they
so
did. I
there's
don't know
a
if they
thing
did it
called
ever, but they did.
broadcast voice.
They did.
Well, there's a lot. I guess so. If you listen to national broadcasters, there's very, very few that have an accent. Like you're not kind of not
I
supposed
get
to
that,
tell
but
where
I
you're
mean-
from. Regionally, there's.
But I guess the reason I did that to mock you, Michael G. Stanton, because you're a professional. You're my buddy for 50 years, and I'm turning the podcast over to you. You've got the golden pipes. You've got the looks.
Wow.
You're going to spearhead this podcast. It
Really?
was his idea to say
He's putting
Snedeker.
this all on you?
Yeah, well,
evidently.
it's his idea.
Listen, what I wanted to do was because Mr. Curiosity is talking to you, John. He's talking to everybody else in the community. Okay, well, what about him? What makes him tick? Like you know,
but I feel like a jerk doing that. So that's why.
Well, this is why I said so. You don't feel like a jerk. So I come in here and you don't feel like a jerk. I'm just turning the tables on you.
Yeah, but I want to
And
say
I
this.
can help you out with that.
Exactly.
But I want to say this. Let's do it with Bike Ride, the telethon, and St. Joe's
Sure.
in mind, because John's a part of that. I'm a part of that. And you'll be the big guy leading the interview. And then for the last 15, 20 minutes, we have to do Brown Bag. We have to answer.
Because that's become a thing.
That's what it's become a thing.
It has become a thing.
This is what people want, the weird questions answered.
And this is the what do they call it? The kind of cliffhanger. Boom, boom, and ding, ding. Do you know who that is?
no, I never told him that story.
Okay, so that will be coming up at the end.
Okay, so we have that hanging out there.
And Budsy.
And Budsy.
Budsy.
Mike, we can't get too deep in the weeds. This is only
listen,
a half
I
hour,
know, go.
45
All right,
minutes.
so-
I feel like we're going in the weeds.
All right, so the bike ride, it started when?
So the date that this, wait a minute, is that the date that this airs or soon after? Yeah, the bike ride will begin. But you're talking about the original.
The original, yeah. So what?
I actually do need help to remember all this because there's still a gap and it's over 26 years old and I kind of forget. But I think it started in 1997, 8-ish, when I was still a high school science teacher.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
So you were still part-time.
I was part-time here.
You were on the
I
weekends.
worked weekends, and
Yeah,
that's
right.
how it started because I have low attention span.
Yeah. Yeah.
He apparently
It's
knows
ve-
that.
I
It's
can't
very
sit
short.
still. So
No.
so I'm a science teacher by but then here comes summer vacation.
Right.
And I was working here part-time on weekends, but like what am I going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Right.
So I can't handle that.
Yeah, right.
So I was going for my master's degree at the time, but I'm like, I like riding a bike. Let's do this to fill in a week during the summer. I have some time off. Let's do something good for humanity.
So that's how that started.
So yeah, I was
Because
still
of
the
your
weekend guy, and I
attention
went to
span.
our news director and I said, "Could I do this bike ride? And it'll favor a charity." He suggested the charity because St. Joe's already had a relationship with WNEP at the time.
Right.
And I said, "Yeah, I'll have people donate a penny a mile, and I'll bike to the East Coast, the Atlantic City shoreline." And he, I'm not going to say his name, but he was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. Go ahead." It's like casual, like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. So I promoted it only during my weekend weather forecast.
Right.
So I would do the weather, and then I'd say, hey, by the way, in 3 weeks, I'm going for a bike ride to the shore. If you want to help out St. Joe's Center, how about a penny a mile? You know? And and I'll do the bike ride on a Monday and maybe get there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It was very loose.
Right.
So that's what happened. That's how it started. But there was no, and I don't mean this in a negative way, there was no like commitment from WNEP. It was like, okay,
Yeah, but that was
okay, weekend weather guy.
And
This
I
is
can
what
see
you want.
you as the weekend weather guy just going in and saying this to the news director.
Right.
And it's like, go for your ride, Joe.
Yeah, go
you
for
know,
your
go
ride.
for your
Yeah,
ride.
that was
did
it,
they
yeah.
did they even have cameras go along with you?
So the first bike ride, no cameras.
So they didn't even really cover
No,
it.
they didn't cover it because why would they? It was just a weekend weather guy going for a bike ride, and he mentioned during his forecast for weeks that the money he gets is gonna donate to a charity, St. Joe's Center.
I think, as a matter of fact, on one of your first rides, you would call in because I was working at the radio station at the time in Honesdale, and I think I had you on a couple times. I called
To promote it at this.
when you were on the ride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the funny part about that, the irony. So I start the bike ride, and I forget how long it took. The first one was maybe just 2 or 3 days. Then so many people were calling the station saying, "Where's Joe? How's his bike ride going?" And the station's like, "What are you talking about?"
They didn't even know you were riding.
I mean, I'm sure they knew, but
That's
they're
funny.
covering fires and
Yeah,
accidents
sure.
and murders.
You're
and
just biking.
I'm just a weekend weather guy. So then they're like, we better cover this now. So then they sent a photographer down there to the Atlantic City resort. I forget where I finished, but I think it was one of the casinos at the time. And there was a huge crowd from WNEP land
No kidding.
all over NEPA that were waiting for me down there because they heard me talk about this for weeks. And then it became a news story because now let's send a camera crew down because there's hundreds of people waiting for Joe to show up in Atlantic City.
Right.
So then it became a thing. And they had donations waiting for me there. So the people made this happen, honestly.
Right.
It's so funny because just this morning, Joe and I were having a conversation about how our viewers drive so much of what happens on the morning show.
Yeah, they
They'll
do.
send in
Sure.
they send in chickens. Next thing you know, it's the summer of the chicken.
Pointing
Right.
pictures.
But this is a perfect example of that. You go for a bike ride.
Yeah.
They
turn it
hop
into
on
something.
board and show up in Atlantic City, and the station realizes, whoa,
Yeah.
this is something.
And that's the way the best things happen. Because what if it didn't happen that way? What if I said to management, now I want a photographer to film me while I pedal my bike, and I want to be live at 6. That'd be a jerk move, right?
Right.
Yes.
So I think
I would be the jerk.
To John's point, I think, and you, Joe, when you started it, like because you're not taking yourself too seriously,
All right.
that you are then part of the community, or you're then part of the whole region.
Yeah.
That people say, oh, okay, well, he's a regular Joe, and he can live next door to me, you know.
Yep.
And so I can relate to him because there's a lot of stuff that, you know, you don't like and they don't like, and you get people that, you know, they're against you, whatever. But when you bring the community in to go on that bike ride with you, because I think that's what they're doing. The entire community is biking with you, and they said, and
I see it that way. I do.
and people are very generous if there's a good cause. If you just say, I'd like $5, like who cares?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if
yeah.
you have a great cause, and you do, I think people love being part of that.
And I think, yeah, that's a big part of it, don't you, too, is that you do this ride, people start getting interested in it, and then as soon as they realize what they're helping,
Yeah.
they want to do more.
Yeah. And I think you're right, too, though. They do see me as just a local guy.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of that. You
Yeah.
know, because I hate stuffiness. I hate fakeness. And I'm just an Up Valley hack. That's my new title for myself. An Up Valley hack who has a good job here at WNEP, loves science, love meteorology, and love to bike. So it's a great marriage of all things.
And you love wearing ties.
Who would, John, do you like that?
I just thought when we started this, I was like, why do I still have my tie on?
Why? I don't know. I hope in the future, you know, you see people down the Jersey Shore, speaking of in the 1800s. You ever see these pictures?
Yeah.
The
They're all dressed
women
up.
are formal. The guy have top hats on.
Yeah.
Is this what we're going to look like in 100 years now? They're going to say, why did that guy have a purple thing around his neck?
No, see, I think
He looks great. He's professional. He's
Right.
handsome.
The
I get all
tie-
that.
The tie is going to be timeless. And
It's
the,
timeless?
And the button-down shirt is timeless. There are going to be anomalies. You are an anomaly. That's yeah.
All right. Would you wear a top hat down the Jersey Shore, though, on a nice summer
I don't
day?
know. No, I don't know that I would. I don't know. I don't think
And
so.
then your wife, don't show your ankles. That's the work of the devil.
Right. Well, no, that's a little extreme. Yeah. because everybody's showing their ankles and much more today.
But to totally answer your question,
Yeah.
so then the second year of the bike ride, I was hired full-time here.
oh,
So that year I started in like February, March. I don't think I did a bike ride because it was like I'm in full-time mode. And then I
Right.
revisited it the next year. It was
Okay.
something like that. But
Oh,
it
so
was
you
in the
jumped on.
fall. It was in October to Niagara Falls. There's a weird
Right.
disconnect there. So that's why it's not 26 continuous years. It's 26
Right.
bike rides, but I think it's like 28 years or 27.
right.
And obviously, then you're not thinking 26 years later, you're still going to be doing this ride. And it's
Right.
going to
It's
be
just
raising
so weird.
hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars.
It's just so bizarre. It is. Yeah.
But I think now you have it's better now because you stay in the area. So you're cruising through the neighborhoods, the towns, as opposed to saying, "Hey, I'm here and I'm going somewhere so far away, nobody's going to see me."
But Mike, I love you, and that's true. But at the same time, the negative to that, what if Santa Claus came to your house every
day.
month?
Well, that
It'd
could
be
be fun.
great, but I
Sure.
guarantee you after 3 months, you'd be like, get
Yeah.
your bag and your presents and get out of here.
No, that's true. Maybe.
So the reason we used to choose different locations, Washington, D.C., Mount Washington in New Hampshire, we would choose different places because it would add a little exotic nature to the bike ride.
Right.
And then only on key years, Gojo 10,
Right.
Gojo 15, Gojo 12, then we do it in the area. So I'm afraid
Right.
if we keep going in the area every year, it's going to be like,
See-
him again?
Right. But I also think if you go somewhere far, there's more of a perception or a reality check of how far it is. If you're
That's
just
true.
going, if you're going, okay, you're going Strucka, you're going Susquehanna, Lackawanna, Luzerne County, whatever, Columbia County, and they go, oh, okay, I could drive there. And it's easy. Going to the Jersey Shore, you go, wow, that's a trip.
It appears to be more of a struggle.
Correct.
And that
Yeah,
raises more
right.
money too. But
Sure.
yeah, you can't beat the community effort too.
Right.
But you're right about that. And a lot of people, when I am biking from community to community, they forget that I'm a 57-year-old guy. I'm not a professional cyclist. You know, it's like when the Steeptown Marathon occurs, if you were to stop those people
Right.
every block and say, hey, come on over here. Then
Right.
they're get back on the road. And then
Yeah.
you run another 5 miles. Hey, come on
No.
over here.
No, no.
So that's the struggle for me. But you can't complain about it. Like, oh, I have to leave my bike and go to a warm welcome in Shikshini. My
Yeah.
life is so hard.
Right.
So I can't complain. But
And
it's a struggle.
Let's be real. This isn't like Iowa, like where Mindy's from, or Florida, where you're riding
Hills.
flat.
No.
When you look at your route on a map, it's like, oh, he's going from Susquehanna to Page
Right.
Lake to, well, how many ridges and mountains are in the
Right.
middle?
It's
And I don't
difficult.
think people think about how hard is that?
They don't
going
think
up
about
and down these
it's
mountains.
torture. It's torture
Yeah.
for me. It really is. And it plays in your brain and your body. And a lot of times this happens on every bike ride. I'll use Shikshini again as an example. I'm in Shikshini and I'll be at the Four Corners and there's a whole group of people out and we're shaking hands and are donating money. And then the producer doesn't happen anymore. He's like, Joe, I want you to go just, 2 miles up the road. There's another group of people.
Oh, well.
And then come back here and then continue your route. I'm like, it's 2 miles to you.
Right.
I just biked 30 miles. This is a break. I'm not going to, no.
Right.
And then those people waiting 2 miles away think I'm a jerk. But mentally,
Oh,
you can't
right.
just do that.
Sure.
Because every mile hurts, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go 2 miles out of my way and then back on the route and then another 2 miles out of my way. It's painful just to think of that. So we try to keep it en route, and we can't please everybody. It's the nature of the beast.
Right. Interesting.
Do you enjoy the training leading up to it? Because obviously you
I
got
don't train.
You got to build up.
You just bike all the
It's just
time.
doing
'Cause
your
I
fun
bike all the
biking.
time, yeah.
So that's good at least.
Yeah, so I bike 2-3 times a week all year round. But I'll go for 30 miles, and then I'll go for a mountain bike ride for 10 miles, and then 2 days later I'll go for another 40 miles. But when you do 70, 80 miles a day, that's a whole different thing. So
Right.
that's a struggle for me. I'm not Lance Armstrong.
So why do you wear biking shorts if you're not really a biker?
Is that
or are you a biker?
Is that a serious question?
That is a serious question.
You're not
You like
joking
have all
around?
the gear. You're like all geared up.
I didn't know we were going to turn in this direction. The spandex thing, I had to have.
If your legs were fatter and not as in shape, would you still wear the spandex? Do you only wear them because you're in relatively good
I could
shape?
turn this whole podcast into a spandex, because it comes with a lot of flack. No one realizes all those things you do. It's not for, I don't know what they're thinking, show or anything. You can't bike professionally with loose clothes on. Number one, it's flapping. It's
Right.
annoying. There's air currents going through your whole body, so you sweat, right?
Right.
And then that sweat sticks to your body, and you get hot, and then maybe you're going down a hill 2 minutes later, and all
you're
that
cold.
sweat is evaporating, and you're cold.
Right.
You go from temperature extremes, everything's flapping. No, so the purpose of spandex is it's a second skin, and your sweat goes right from the skin into the spandex, and it taken
Out
away,
into the
it wicks
atmosphere.
away. So you never feel extremely hot or cool. It's like a second skin, literally. And of course, you've seen those pads on biking spandex.
Right. I'm sure you need
Right in the crotch, there's a thick pad.
Yeah.
And that helps you from getting sore and chafing. So you
Right.
need all these things.
Right.
So
You
people
almost
laugh.
have to have that because that's what I always wonder after your rides. What about sitting on that seat the
butt.
whole
Yeah.
time?
So the first day, nothing. Second day, uh-oh. I feel this is getting... And the third day, it's like, oh, every crank, at least for me, hurts my rear end.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It does. By the third day. And then the fourth day, it actually starts to start going away for biological
You're
reasons. I
Interesting.
don't know. Yeah, it might be a numbness. And then by the fifth day,
interesting.
it's almost gone. But yeah, that hurts. It does.
Well, it's like if you run, if you're a runner and a guy, you need to tape yourself.
What do you mean?
You need to tape your chest.
I didn't know this.
You will bleed.
What do you mean do you tape? You get like what?
Like,
Just the rubbing.
yeah, you will bleed.
Oh, there.
yes.
He's pointing to his
Chest.
Chest.
upper chest.
Yes, you will. You need Band-Aids or something.
So
there.
do all... Well, I'm at the Steamtown Marathon, and I pull...
I bet.
20 guys
I
off.
bet they're all
They're all taped up. I never realized
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
you're bouncing.
right, and the
your
T-shirt
chest muscles going up and down.
the T-shirt is rubbing, and you will bleed. Yeah.
Were you a bleed?
I was a bleed.
Because you did the marathon,
I did
right?
once. When I turned 50, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. One and done, and that was fine. so
But you really do need the spandex. I am not
no, but that's
making
what I'm
that
saying.
up.
So
Yeah.
even
It's a
even the
second skin.
padding, I would think that's moving all your
No,
You're-
no chafing.
Right.
Everything is pretty, yeah, no movement. Maybe that's another reason it could be tight. There's no movement.
right. Oh,
Nothing is blowing and wafting, and there's no scraping. Everything's just tight.
Wafting.
Wafting.
Yeah, it's just tight and
He's
perfect.
a teacher. He's wafting.
Yeah, and then all the sweat just get whisked away. It's
Wicks.
perfect.
Wicking.
Wick-
So when you're
wicking.
done, you go through this ride, and it's every mile's hell, pretty
Yeah.
much. Every year, do you think at the end, I don't know if I want to do this again?
Pregnancy is the exact thing I tell my wife, because we have 3 kids. You have 3 kids.
Yes.
2.
2. Do you remember what your wife said after 1 child, or no?
Like this is never happening again.
Yeah, like after, if you talk to your wife during the day after
Oh,
pregnancy,
yeah, yes, yeah.
they'll be like,
They're done.
done,
Yeah.
and then pregnant again, another kid,
Yeah.
pregnant. That's the same thing with this bike ride. I can remember like yesterday, at the end of every year, thinking, I'm done. This is too much. I do not want to do this anymore.
So what is your
but then it goes away,
And you
I'm
come
ready
back
to
for
go.
more.
so do you have an end game to that point? Do you have like a number in your mind and you're saying, okay, when I turn 60,
No, but I'm hoping, that's a great question, to turn this into, see, any cyclist listening knows that all around the area, Philly, New York City, bigger cities, they have bike rides for MS. They have bike
Right.
rides. We have the Tour de Scranton, which is a small bike ride.
right?
I want to turn it into something like that, like the Steamtown Marathon, where cyclists come from all over and participate in this St. Joe's bike ride. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, that would be dynamite.
So whether it's at Gojo 30, whether it's next year, or whether it's 10 years from now,
So what are you
it's
naming
an
it?
annual bike
Oh,
ride
wait a-
associated with the telethon and festival.
Right.
And hundreds of bikers show up, and they do, I don't know, 20, 30 miles just that day, and then end up at the festival and telethon. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Oh, that would be awesome.
So it
Yeah.
lives on.
It lives on in a different way.
Yeah.
And if you get 500 cyclists each donating, $200, $300, $400, that's
Right.
a lot of money.
Right.
So yeah, I hope it lives on like that. And it's called the annual St. Joe's
St.
Go
Joe's.
Joe. Well, it could be called Go Joe. Not narcissistic about me, but it's for Joe.
No, but it could
St.
be
Joe's.
Go-
Right. Go Joe.
Go
Right.
Joe, yeah.
Go for St. Joe's. So that's what I hope to do. Turn it into that.
You just don't know when that year is.
I don't know when that is because I keep having babies. And I keep wanting more until I have one, and then I say that's
It is
it.
fascinating, that analogy, because I always was amazed at my wife when she talked about a pregnancy. Oh, I don't remember that. Any of the
They-
bad stuff.
could you-
Right.
Any of the bad things.
Right.
Could you imagine dragging this life
No.
No.
for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, then going
No.
through all that pain?
No.
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 I
No.
complained like a baby when I had hernia surgery.
If guys had to do that,
No.
the population,
Yeah, well, yeah.
the population
It
would have
would-
died out a long, long time ago. We
It'd
never
be
would
like
have done it.
right. It'd
yeah.
be a quarter of the population, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I stepped on a Lego. That was painful. How much worse could it be?
I've stepped on Legos. That
does
hurt.
It does hurt.
Or you step on a bee in the backyard, you still go outside with no shoes on.
That's right.
Wow, I stepped on a Lego.
Just imagine the ladies listening to this right now.
We're kidding, you ladies. We're kidding.
No.
You're awesome
Wait,
what
so,
you do.
So hold on. I will, if there's a hole to be dug, I'm going to undig the hole.
Okay.
I have, and I mean this 100% sincerely, and I've said this, I have the utmost respect for women having children. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I am 100% sincere on that. Holy moly. Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of
Yes.
evolution and biology.
No,
They're
correct.
just there. That's what,
Right.
that's their function.
No, but I am saying,
Not the only function. I'm not saying that.
right. But yeah, that's incredible.
It is.
Yeah, we would have a problem,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, but the first one, when your toilet overflows, or your basement's covered in sewage, or there's something really nasty around the house, we do it.
We have a value too.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
It's not as good. It's not as high,
Yes,
maybe.
but we
They're
still
the
have a value.
first to say, "I don't know how you do that." So
True.
I mean, everyone
Right.
has these roles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do we want to
they-
get to the brown bag questions, or do you have a couple more things
So
about the bike?
so boom boom and ding ding?
You're getting right to that.
I'm going to that one.
Well, I want to to finalize the bike ride
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So John is a big part of the end game. Last year was the first year. Didn't it feel like family that you, Mindy, and me, since we're now the
Yes,
morning team,
We're all part of it.
and we're all part of it. So these
Yeah,
guys do the telethon
cool.
for 2 days.
It is really cool
And
that
that's
we
pretty
all
unique.
get to do this.
Yeah, because in the past it wasn't like that, Mike.
Right.
And it feels,
John never worked
now
with
that
us.
I'm on the
Right.
morning show and now the sponsors are back in the
Yeah.
backyard during the week and stuff, it really feels like a whole morning team
yeah.
effort. Because
Yeah.
Mindy and I have been
And it
part
is,
of,
right?
Yeah.
we've been
Yeah.
part of coming out in the backyard with the sponsors and everything like that. And then we're talking about Mindy being with you when you start the ride. And, and so, it really feels like part of a team. I mean, you're doing the hard work, but it's fun to be part of it.
I have a tandem bike if you and Mindy want to start on the tandem.
We've done the tandem thing before now.
Remember when the Clarks did that?
Clarks, that was
a
the
moment.
epic year.
Tom
Gojo
and Nori
6
Clark
I missed that
on
one.
the
Yeah.
tandem
Yeah.
bike. That was a moment.
And here's what a unique, great guy Tom Clark is. This is Gojo 16, 10 years ago. He didn't give me this information. I had to find out about it. Tom does everything professionally, and he does his homework for it. So when he was asked to do a tandem bike with Noreen, he bought a book about tandem bike riding.
Wow.
And I saw it in the weather office once. I go, "What's with that book?" He goes, "Well, I want to see all the proper routes and techniques in riding a tandem." He researched this and did his homework on riding a tandem bike.
You know what? It's not just hop
I
on
know,
that
but
bad
who?
boy.
I'm thinking I'm like the complete opposite. I wouldn't
Yeah.
do that if I lived to a million.
No.
I would just grab the bike and go, "Let's go." But he researched
That's
it,
Tom
found the
Clark.
proper elevation of the seat height and how to balance
Oh, wow.
and maneuver. Yeah, he's just that kind of guy. So he's very
Yeah, I wouldn't-
professional and
yeah, I
serious.
wouldn't do that.
That was Gojo 16.
16.
But I wanted to ask John on the similar topic. So when you're doing the telethon, that's got to be grueling in a different way. That's how many hours of saying things about St. Joe's, asking for money. It's probably uncomfortable and grueling, correct?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's nothing
Not
compared.
grueling
It's
in a-
nothing
yeah.
compared to what you do riding the bike.
Well,
but
I'm just-
but it is. In the years past, some years we've done 3 hours on Friday night, 3 hours on Saturday night.
Yes.
For the telethon. And I have to be honest, when I went into it and was asked to do it, I was kind of hesitant about because I don't want to ask people for money.
It's uncomfortable. It's a
That's-
long
it
time.
is, yeah.
really, really hard thing to do.
Right.
But I visited St. Joseph's Center and did a story before the first telethon that I was involved
That's
in.
what'll change
and
your
I
life.
saw the people there, and I saw the help they were getting, and I thought if there's anything I can ask people to donate to,
That's it.
it's this.
Yeah, and it does
Plus-
change your mind.
Plus, you see, people want to help St. Joseph's Center, and what I love, and I say it over and over during the telethon, is that there's people giving $1,000. There's the sponsors giving $5,000, $10,000. But what the beauty of what I think Gojo and this telethon is the amount of people that are giving $10, $20,
Yes.
$50. And it's hundreds and hundreds of them adding up to big bucks.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I talk about a lot when we're doing the pitches and the telethon for people to call in is, look, we know that there aren't a lot of people out here that can give big bucks, but they'll give $20 to help St. Joseph Center. And you get 1,000 people to give $20.
Yeah. I know.
It's
That's
a
the
lot of
beauty
money.
of it. Yep.
And that's the beauty of this. And so
Yeah, it is a community. It's a community event, and I think to your credit, the morning team's credit, that they feel part of your morning show. So it's easier for them to donate because they feel that you are part of their community and they're part of your community.
That's it, brother.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's what I felt in the year since I've been on this morning show, is that the viewers aren't watching. They feel like they're part of something.
Right. You are literally in their living room and you're having a
feel
coffee
like,
with
look
them.
at the stuff they're sending
Yeah.
into Joe,
Yeah.
these chickens and all this stuff. It's crazy
Yeah.
because they feel like they're part of it.
Yeah.
They want to, and so this is just an extension of that, and it is kind of cool now that I'm on this shift. Mindy and I get to be part of this telethon together. You're out on the road,
Yep.
and we all get to do
Yeah,
this
it's funny.
together.
It's the morning team
It really
out
is.
there doing our thing. You should be a part of it.
How do I do that?
Oh,
Wait,
how do you do that?
How could you become part of the morning show?
Yeah. I don't know. Let's do a little brown bag, shall we?
Let's.
Oh, Boom Boom and Ding Ding were my
Oh,
two
yeah.
gerbils that I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Really?
Boom Boom and Ding Ding. And you wanted to ask something else? So, yeah, these were two gerbils I had. You might remember better than I do because it was such a shock to you in my normal life. You mentioned Budsy. My
Budsy.
grandmother, when my parents got married, they moved to Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was where the Snedekers were going to exist. My mom is from Simpson, just north of Carbondale.
Big metropolis of.
Yeah. So her dad dies before I was born. My grandmother, Budsy, was lonely in Simpson and begged my father and mother to move back with her.
Yeah.
That's how we came back to Simpson. And then my parents had me. So I lived with my grandmother, mother, and father until my grandmother died. And then my parents took over their house. But this woman was she crazy, Mike? My
I
grandmother, whose name was Budsy.
Yeah, and your
She was
and your-
old school Slovakia,
Yeah.
broken
Oh, wow.
English,
Yeah.
broken
Oh,
English,
yeah.
yeah.
And your sister didn't even know till a few years ago that we called her Budsy, and I don't know.
And
where
I
the
don't
name
know why
came
we
from.
call that.
But no, she was a little nuts.
She would throw
Throw
hot
hot
water
water.
on my friends. Why did
Yeah.
she do that?
It was.
Did she not want you guys there?
I don't know. I could, yeah, yes,
Like
it would
pots
be-
of hot water. Here comes Mike over to
It
my
would
house
be-
to play.
It could be on the porch. It could be kind of
Why
coming
would she
from
do
the kitchen
that?
out to the porch.
Did she not want you there?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, Budsy.
You think of though her asking your parents to come back changes the trajectory
Boom.
of everything.
Of everything,
Right.
right?
Because if you grew up in Philadelphia,
Philadelphia,
you are
well-
not going to be who you are.
And you were
Right?
probably
Don't
and
you think? He's not
correct.
gonna be the same
and
guy.
Probably you were probably not even a meteorologist.
Well, who knows what I'd be?
See, because I think because of the fact that you were here, you were teaching here.
No, I've
that
always
there
been
was-
a science geek.
No, I know. Oh, you
So I would
100%.
have, yeah. So I would have majored in science somewhere in Philly.
Something.
got a
You think
tap
you would
water.
have searched that out, or you would have been like a professor in college? Maybe?
I don't know. Or maybe how about a member of a street gang?
Yeah, no,
No.
no,
No.
no, no. That's not happening.
We're glad Budsy got your parents to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah, Budsy. Crazy
So you guys have known
woman.
each other since what age?
4
4 or 5.
4. Oh,
Maybe,
wow.
yeah.
So it goes back
like
that
literally
way.
52 years, maybe.
Yeah. But why didn't my grandmother want you around? Why would she throw hot water on you?
I don't, but it was
It
other
wasn't
folks
steady,
that-
was it? It was like some days she was friendly.
Yeah. No, sometimes she was like, yeah, cherry pie. Awesome. And other times she would just, I don't know. I don't know. Snap.
And then the neighbor across the street, Mr. Duck, he was also old school Slovakian.
He
and
played the
he was a
accordion.
mean guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy, John, no joke. He would literally take anything that fell in his yard. And like that's an old story.
Yeah.
Like,
That was the neighbor behind our house.
who are these people? They would steal balls and
Yeah.
footballs and basketballs and
Our neighbor right behind our house, anything that touched his lawn, he kept.
What?
So when we'd play baseball in the yard, we'd face towards the house, which meant we broke windows.
Right.
On the house, and my dad would go nuts. What are you hitting baseballs towards the house for? Well, we'd rather hit it towards the house and break a window and deal with
Right.
that consequence than deal with the guy that lived right behind
was
us.
he an old cranky guy?
Yeah.
or-
Oh,
What?
yeah.
like, so are we going to be
there
old and
less-
cranky?
Are there less old
Get off
cranky
my
guys?
lawn.
I don't know.
There seems to be less old cranky guys around.
Seems
now,
that
compared
way.
to the 70s or 80s. I don't know. That guy was
Interesting.
cranky, Mike.
He was, but he would sit outside and he would play the accordion.
Play the accordion. Talk about my life.
Yeah.
I mean, John,
Across
he
the
would
street.
sit across the street from where my grandmother was and play the accordion and sing in old school Slovakian
Yeah.
words. This is the 70s.
Yeah.
Look at the face. That
Yeah.
It amazes me. Joe and I find a lot of parallels between each other, which scares me all the time. My grandma's Slovakian. Her parents were right off the boat and stuff
Yeah.
like that. My grandpa played the accordion.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Weird. It
is weird.
Good people, though. Great people.
Great people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike and I will both alter voice. What question? Yeah, it's time for Brown
right.
Bag Monday.
Let's
Here
see
we
what
go.
we got here.
Now, are you going to read
my.
every one of these in your radio voice?
I'll use my mother's voice.
Let's
Caution, external email.
see. There it is. The DJ radio.
John, happy you're part of the morning team. My question is,
Uh-oh.
this is from Tom from Archbald. Do you dye your hair?
I do not dye my hair.
Do you dye your hair?
Listen,
I like how you paused for the emphasis.
So I'm going to add to that question. Have you ever lied on this podcast?
I don't think
well,
I've ever
everybody
lied.
lies. It's just to
Well,
what
no, I
degree.
just want, well, because then maybe that would have been
But
a little.
you can see the
yeah,
gray.
you can see the gray starting to come.
Do you?
I told you that story when
You
I
used to.
first started getting some grays. I tried Just for Men. I'm thinking, yeah. The commercial says, how did that commercial go? I forget, but it hooked me. No play for Mr. Gray. Oh. Do you remember that? They said no
I
play.
do not.
Yeah.
They'd have pretty girls going, no play for Mr. Gray.
Oh.
So I'm like in my early 40s.
You're saying,
starting to
give me
go
a case of
gray.
that.
I'm like, what the heck? I'll try, because I don't want this to
Yeah.
but then it turned out it was like a crime scene in my house. I didn't want my wife to find out. It comes with gloves because you put this stuff in your hair. I'm wrapping the bottle up in tissue paper, stuffing it in the garbage. I'm hiding the gloves. And then when you take a shower with the stuff, it squirts on the side of the shower. So then after I'm showering, I'm
my.
like, I got to hide. And I'm like, who are you, Snedeker? Are you a phony? I'm not going to live my life like this anymore. So I stopped doing it. I felt like a fraud.
So,
No, that doesn't mean if you dye your hair, you're a fraud.
No.
That's me.
So here's
These
here's
are my
story of dyeing the hair. So the gray's starting to show up. My kids pointed it out that, Dad, you can see your grays on TV.
Yeah.
So there's an ad on TV for Just for Men shampoo that you can use it and then just decide when
There you
you've
go.
gotten rid of enough.
There you go.
So my wife bought me some.
Well,
She said, if
right.
you want to try it. So I thought, all right, I'll give it a try. Because
Here we go.
if you don't like it with guys' hair,
Yeah.
we grow it out and
Yeah,
it's
right.
gone. So this was probably a year ago.
Okay.
So I tried it. In the shower, you just wash. It
Yeah,
says
just
just wash
wash
your
it,
hair,
there you
let
go.
it in for 3 minutes, and while you're washing everything else, and then rinse it out. So I think I used it 2 or 3 times. And same thing. I'm like, what are these spots on the
Oh, wow.
on the wall of the shower? And then my fingernails were turning colors. I was like, what is this stuff? What is this stuff?
Yes. See?
So it's not for me.
It's like a crime scene. Then you go hiding everything. You're like,
I
oh my
wasn't
God.
hiding it because she bought me the stuff. And I was just like,
But now you're.
well, why do I have purple nails?
That's
it was
funny.
So then I read the fine print on the box, like, don't use your fingertips. Like, you may want to wear gloves when you're washing your
Because
hair. Well, I
it'll
didn't
stain
read,
your
I didn't
skin.
read
Yeah,
the
so you have to put
directions
the
closely.
So then you're putting gloves on, and you're like,
Yeah.
I was
you're
like,
counting because it's like 3 minutes, and I'm like, no.
Here's the
No.
funny
Yeah.
thing is, and I have to laugh about trying to get rid of grays. When I was first in this business and first a weekend anchor in Johnstown, PA, that was my first job on TV.
Yeah.
The news director called me into the office and he said, so we're thinking you need to look a little more distinguished. Have you ever thought of like dyeing some gray into
That's
just
not
like
true.
He
That is not a true
actually
story.
Did actually
That is
happen.
not a true story.
Actually happened.
Put some gray in.
Put some gray in the
to look
sides to
distinguished.
look a little older. Because
Really?
he said you just look like a kid. Yeah,
That's
that
interesting.
actually happened.
That's
There's
funny.
lots of other stories.
But you
about
did
that
you have
guy
to
too.
do that or
I
no?
didn't do it.
You did not do that.
There's lots of other stories about him too, but everyone has boss stories. I don't need to get into any
That's
of
so
them.
stupid.
Yeah, that was a good question though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's some thin ones in there too. You don't always have to go for the big bulgy questions.
I just.
Okay,
I
all right.
dug
Just so you
deep.
know,
I
there's a
went-
variety in there. Oh, I like the glasses go on every time.
Listen,
Look
I
at
have,
this.
listen, I have
Come
old
on,
man
Gramps.
eyes.
What do
I
you
have
got this time?
Wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
Ooh,
This could be. This is from. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Whatever.
if
Anyway.
if it's a little vague.
Your daily display of pictures people send reminds me of Hatchie Malachi. Remember Hatchie Malachi? I just don't think a news show needs this display.
So this is our morning news where John Mayer and Mindy standing in front of the screen and you go over all the people's pictures
That's what
of
they
what
must
they
mean.
did over the
Yes.
weekend or something.
Yeah.
First of all, did they do that on Hachimalachi?
I don't know. There was the roller and stuff.
The Magic
I
Roller?
don't.
That was a
Wait.
morning show here at WNEP back in the 70s and 80s, if
Yeah.
you're wondering what Hachimalachi is. But
Yeah.
that was an entertainment kid show.
But you know-
John, you do get, I think there's some flack for that, right?
Oh, yeah,
Some
there's definitely
Some
flack.
feel it's frivolous, it's not new.
Why do we need to see this?
Yeah.
And the reality is that it's a Monday morning. There's not a lot of news often that's happened over the weekend or that we have going into the morning on Monday. So it's just a way to have some extra content. The interesting thing is what it's grown into is lots of people all over the area showing us the events that happened where they live that weekend. We almost get every county in our viewing area represented, which is not always easy with 17 counties. So it's just a interaction with our viewers that we do for 2 minutes, three
But
times
again,
on a morning.
it brings
the community
It,
together.
it makes people involved.
I was at the
Yeah.
Bloomsburg Fair, here I am. That is news.
So did they not like Hachimalachi?
Throw that stupid
Throw that
package.
aside.
I can honestly say, because I don't follow news at all. When you guys started doing that, the very first thing I thought is, wow, this is great, this is cool. There's not a one neuron in my brain that said, why are they doing that? Who are these people?
And the thing that I like
Who are
about
these
it, and this
people?
goes along with what I know our mentality is I love seeing people out taking advantage of all the great stuff there is to do around here. They're
Right.
showing us the festivals. They're going for hikes. They're kayaking.
That is
they're,
news.
Even in the winter, they're out playing in the snow. They're out there.
Look what they did after the snowstorm.
So I end that segment. I'm just like, wow, this is a fun place to live. You know, and we're just representing that.
And what the unfortunate part is, to your positive, did you ever see when somebody they move to the area and you're with somebody and you're talking and they go, why did you move here? Why do you do that?
Hate that. When I moved here and I went looking for apartments, there were so many people that said, so you're not from here? And I said, no. I said, why would you want to move here?
Why
That's
not?
right, that's
I got that
unbelievable.
from so many people when I moved here. And
It's incredible, right?
And then I've lived here now for 20
It's annoying.
years.
It's very annoying.
Right.
And it's so funny how
Very
many
annoying.
people think it's better elsewhere and that there's something wrong about here. We've stayed for 20 years because this is a great place
It's
to live.
awesome here.
And a great place to raise a family. There's so much going for here, but there's definitely people out there that have a mindset of like, oh, well, this is just
Yeah,
Northeastern
it's these
Pennsylvania.
people that are sitting in their house. They travel around their block. They go to their local and they don't go anywhere. They
No,
don't do anything.
they don't do
They
anything.
don't hike. They don't bike. They don't go to festivals.
I think a lot of people who, don't be offended if you're one of them, if you're a failure at life, you blame the area you're in instead of yourself. And I think that's goes.
Oh, if you're a failure at anything,
They're
you
like,
blame
"Oh, well,
somebody
it's the,
else.
Yeah, it's the area.
It's
That's
really
right."
funny because
It's not
every Monday.
It's not the area.
I sort through these photos every Monday, and we get a lot now. It's like 200 some photos of people's fun weekend. But then there's always the comments that are in there. Oh, I moved to Florida and I really miss Northeastern PA. They don't have any
Sure, right.
church bazaars down here.
Right.
I miss the mountains of Northeastern PA. So there's a lot going for this area.
Yeah,
we
we
get
gotta
to show it on Monday morning.
Yeah.
The grass isn't
There's
always
the answer to that.
Yeah, the grass isn't always greener.
I've been to a lot of grassy places. It's the same color.
Yeah, but not if it's really hot. It turns brown.
It does. And sometimes it's more lush and thicker. I'll give you that.
What?
There's going to be some of those
Mike,
things on
wait,
screen.
you know about the bell? This is,
Oh, yeah.
if it's
No,
offensive,
no, it's not. No.
offensive or inappropriate.
No, this isn't inappropriate. It's more of a science question. Will a siphon work on Mount Everest?
See, this
It
is
just
good.
seemed-
Mount Everest, 29,000 feet up. The air pressure there is probably about 20% of what it is here at the surface. So it will work, but 20% as efficiently.
Okay.
It'll be
Because it's
very-
working on air pressure.
Because, well, a siphon, you suck the air out of the tube, and the atmosphere pushes whatever you're trying to siphon through that removed area of atmosphere.
Right.
But here at the surface, it's got 1,000 millibars. But up at that height, it's only about 200 millibars. So it would push, but inefficiently, 20%. So it would be a siphon that is pretty slow and less efficient.
And that's so
Pathetic.
random.
That's the beauty of this.
That's a random.
It's actually one thing I love about
I
this.
know. It's,
Is that we get a question like
a
that.
siphon would work, but only 20% efficiently. We got another one there, big guy? What are you thinking? Or should
Okay.
we start picking? Are you going to be the picker the whole time there?
Listen, here.
No,
I don't want to hog the show here.
You
No,
have
this
the
is
gold-
your show.
No, you're our guest, and you have the golden pipe.
Yes.
No.
I like him doing
Yeah,
it.
it is. It's got good voice to it.
Listen, I'm going to use punctuation here too. Stop the madness. Give us the relative humidity in percent, not dew point temperature. What does that?
Another science question.
What does that even mean? Grew up with humidity percentage. Thank you, Lenny.
Grow up, it said?
No, he said he grew up with the humidity percentage.
Here's the problem with humidity,
with.
and I need an hour to explain this, and you guys tell me if I'm boring you. The relative humidity is a nonsense term. No one should ever use it for the rest of their life. Here's why. Let's use today as an example. Let's say the temperature this morning was 70 degrees, right?
Right.
And the dew point was also 70. When the temperature reaches the dew point, condensation occurs, so it's foggy. The relative humidity is 100%.
Okay.
But it's going to go up to 90 this afternoon. So once the temperature leaves 70, which was the dew point, and goes to 80, 85, 90, what does the relative humidity do? It drops all day long.
Right.
Because warm air can hold more water vapor than cold air. So every afternoon, the relative humidity goes down because it gets warmer out. But guess what the dew point does all day? It stays the same. It's at 70 still. So is it more humid in the morning today than it was in the afternoon?
No.
No.
Interesting.
The dew point was still, the amount of moisture in the air stayed the same all day. It's just that at night, when the temperature drops, it gets so cool that it condenses out. But that doesn't mean it's more humid in the morning. So if I tell everyone, oh, the relative humidity is 100%, it's 100% almost every morning. Right. That doesn't mean it's going to be a humid day. Would you rather know what the dew point is? Because that gives you an absolute reference.
And you use the dew point all the time. I do notice lots of other forecasters too. Do you think it's just because it's a better way of explaining?
Yeah, it's coming of age
and
finally.
Those maps that they show now,
The colors,
the colors
help
because it's showing dry to tropical and all that in between.
But the moral story is the relative humidity is high every single morning, but it's not. But there's no more moisture in the air in the morning than there is in the afternoon. It's just that the temperature's cool, so it seems like it's relative. It's a long story, but another big one. I want the little. Put that back. We're going for the little one.
All right.
What was that a good one though?
I don't know.
Let me let me see.
What if that was a great question?
All right, I'm gonna see. Let me see. Here, read that one. That actually was a good one. Why did you? You like the little one too? Here we go.
I saw there's a little.
This is a good. John's gonna like this.
Okay.
One.
Joe, have you ever met Dick Yuengling? You talk about him every day. I was curious if you have even met the man. Thank you, Michelle Stone.
That's a great question.
Dick Yuengling,
Yeah.
billionaire. Dick Yuengling, regular guy, owner
See, you love that.
of Yuengling Brewery.
Right.
Met him, but I just started meeting him in the last 5, 6, 7 years. Great guy, fun guy, regular guy, dirty jeans, no pretentiousness about him. Showed me around the brewery. Met him on a bike ride. Met him with I took my family down there once to see a concert. He happened to say, "Hey, come on over. I want to show you around." Know him. Not that we're best buddies. He has my number. I have his number. We don't
Can I get a
call
tour?
each other or text.
Can I get a
yes.
tour?
But here's the beauty of Dick Yuengling. John knows this. Mike, you may not know this. In the forecast, we have a camera in Pottsville.
Yeah.
So whenever I show Pottsville, I bring him up randomly and just say, Dick Yuengling does this. It's all lies and fabrications. And guess what his reaction is, John?
What?
He loves it.
He loves it.
He loves it.
Well, because you said he's a regular guy.
I'll say Dick Yuengling today is giving away 100 loggers to for Easter morning, and he's gonna have $100 bills hidden in them. It's just a joke.
Yeah.
He loves it. Dick Yuengling's up on the camera, moving it around when we're showing our camera down there. It's not Dick Yuengling. But he loves it. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Dick Yuengling, to save money at the brewery, we learned, when it snows or is icy, he goes to Burger King and gets hundreds of salt packets and sprinkles them on the sidewalk so he doesn't have to buy salt and spread
I
it.
forgot
That
I
was
said
one
that
of them.
one.
Wow.
I think though, some of the beauty of the Dick Yuengling becoming pretty much a
You're right,
character
I forgot
on the
about that
show
lie.
is that he also represents why this area is special. He may be the richest person in the viewing area. Maybe. I don't know. There could be other wealth out there, but he might be the richest guy here. But he's at the brewery driving the forklift.
Right.
He's shoveling snow. He's cleaning the
He's
tanks.
doing all that kind of stuff. And everyone in Pottsville they see him all around. He's just a normal guy.
He's walking on the
Love
streets. Yeah.
And that's even the richest guy in the area is just another guy.
Just another guy.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about this area.
And speaking
is
of
how
the
down
bike-
to earth everybody is.
And the bike ride this year, we're going to be with Dick Yuengling when we're in our southern tier county. So get ready for that.
Which
Dick
Joe
Yuengling is
says
gonna-
on the air all the time that Dick Yuengling is going to be wearing a chicken suit.
I'm going to bring in the chicken
I don't
suit.
know if Dick
And
I'm
you-
sure has been told that by now, but we'll see
He
if that
will
happens.
put on the chicken suit. I guarantee you he will.
So, in lieu of water in the water bottles, would you ever consider a lager?
You know this about me, Mike. I
know you're not a
can't
big
understand it. I don't drink at all.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-drink, but I get
Yeah.
no thrill from any alcoholic beverages. So Yuengling, a beer is great.
Yeah.
But no, I will not have any beer.
A black and tan?
No.
Just not your thing.
I'd rather have like a Diet Coke or a Turkey Hill iced tea.
How about the fact that Yuengling, way back when, I used to make fun of my dad because they came in like the returnables and everything. And I'm like, Dad, that's like an old man beer. And my dad was probably 30.
John, do you know this? In this area, in the 80s
Yeah, or earlier, even.
and 70s,
yeah.
when, you're 18, 19, everyone kind of did it back then. You start getting interested in alcohol and you start sneaking beers from your dad and your buddies going to the woods. Yuengling was a laughable. I brought this
Yeah.
up in the podcast with the Yuengling family. It was a laughable beer.
Yeah.
It was the cheap stuff, all the the Coors and the Budweiser. That was the others. This was just like the cheap, funny beer.
And I grew up in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania. I never even heard of it.
You never even heard
I
of
never
it?
even heard of Yuengling growing up. And in high school, college, never heard of Yuengling. And then obviously, and we know that from the story of the Yuenglings, then they took a different business approach and now look.
It just
They took
blew
a
up.
different
They're
business
almost
approach with the
nationwide.
lagers, and
Yeah.
one of the
Oldest-
first
oldest
lagers, I
brewery
think,
in
oldest
America.
brewery, and now it's like the thing.
Because do you remember the returnable cases? They were 16 ounce, I think 12, 16 ounce bottles, doesn't matter. But you put them back in the box.
Is that right?
And
I
you
don't
take
remember.
them,
Yeah, you're right.
You take
That's
them back
right.
to the distributor and you get like whatever, $1 or $2, whatever the deposit was on it when you buy, and then you buy a new one. But the bottles were all like, because they're reused.
Yeah, they're all scratched.
Yeah,
and everything.
scratched, dinged up, and the boxes were heavier. But yeah.
It's funny because I moved here 20 years ago, and honestly, that may have been the first time I really heard of Yuengling beer.
Isn't that something? And I think since you got
And
here,
that
it's
was
blown up.
right when they were
Right
starting.
when it started to blow up.
Their
Yeah.
big growth.
And I did a podcast with the Yuengling daughters, and they'll tell you the story how it blew up.
Yeah.
And now it's great
Then
beer.
you couldn't-
It probably always was good beer, but it just had a
Yeah.
reputation back
But
then.
then you couldn't even get it. I mean, that's how popular it was. You couldn't get it in bars or whatever.
And now you can get it in Florida, California, Texas, all over the place.
Yep.
National commercials, and why are you laughing? What's going on there? You got a
Oh,
nice
I think
question
he's
for
got
it?
something.
It's a small one, so maybe
The
this
small
is-
ones are the
it's-
ones that I get from a lot of people who just drop them off.
Why are the mascots for kids cereals always overly happy cartoon characters, but never lonely, cranky, depressed, or seeking help?
Oh boy.
Listen, I'll tell you why.
boy, Captain Crunch, a depressed Captain
I
Crunch.
just picture, because I still have kids that are, kids cereal age, and I just picture. Do you want some of the Mr. Crankios this morning?
Hi,
With
kids.
this whole crowd.
Hi, kids. It's a terrible day. Would you like some of my cereal?
Don't hit your ball on my lawn.
Yeah. I'm not going to play the accordion for you either. Come on, you're going to have a lousy day. Have some of my cereal.
Well, I get Fred and Barney weren't exactly, maybe, I mean, that breaks the mold a little bit, doesn't it?
They were
just typical
fun.
guys, though.
Why do you...
So you're saying Captain Crunch, Tricks the Rabbit, Lucky, yeah, they're all very, overly happy, though.
But isn't everything in the world of kids? That's the point. Like to have a happiness and positivity.
You would, right? Why do you want to start your day depressed? That's why you listen to that's why you watch the morning show. Because you want, there's some bad
That's
stuff,
a
but you
great
want to...
So we said about lonely.
A lonely, depressed. Why are they never lonely, depressed? Oh, look, kids! Somebody ran over Tricks the Rabbit. They ran him over. Have some cereal. Like, wow.
Where do you think that person was coming from with
Look,
that?
hey, let's start a new cereal. It's Bipolar Larry, and it's got little chips of cookie in
And
it.
you pour it
and
out, and some days they're happy, and some days they're not.
Eat it quickly because he has an appointment at 9. Wow. Wow.
That was good.
I'm making sure I picked another small one. 'Cause
Yeah.
that one was...
No, well, they're not all, I'm sure.
Well,
Just
listen, let's see how we're working with this.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
What?
This is from Adoring Fans Need to Know.
Ooh.
Adoring Fans Need to
And
Know.
you looked at John, so it's about him.
Why? No, it's what? What is John Meyer's jean size? Inseam, waist, etc.
Oh, it's what else is there? What
Yeah.
do you mean it's?
Inseam, waist, etc. Adoring fans need to
Let's
know.
play the game. Guess. Now, I'm a 32-30. Mike, what are you?
I'm on a 35 cusp.
Okay, so John is a tall guy.
I could
but
bump
he's
it to
a thin
36.
Guy. I'll be honest with you. I've never seen inseams over 40.
Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah, you're a tall
Okay.
guy. You're like a 38 inseam I'm going with, and maybe
Why 38 in? Okay.
I don't know, tall.
Okay.
Ish.
Oh, I thought you meant, for some reason you said 38.
No, like
I thought you meant
the
waist.
inseam. No, and the waist is probably.
He's a 34-30. He's 34-38.
I'm going to go 35, 36.
36 waist.
36 waist.
The inseam is interesting. I'm tall, but most of my height is torso.
Get out.
So
you're-
I can sometimes get inseam 34.
What?
Sometimes jeans will fit at 34. But
What?
I have trouble because 34 is right at the cusp.
Yeah.
And 36 is usually too long. And 35 a lot of times is hard to find.
Yeah.
So it really, I have a challenge finding pants that fit right.
Get out.
Yeah.
The pants
Because
problem.
here's another quick answer to that, because I'm 6'6", is that finding clothes overall is really tough.
I'll bet.
Because you go to a store and there's lots of places that have big and tall.
Yeah.
And it's big and tall
Yes.
Combined.
combined.
Right.
So you get a dress shirt, and I got to buy dress shirts all over the place. Well, I have a relatively normal size neck, 16 and a half.
Yeah.
But the sleeves have to be 36, 37. It's almost impossible to find that shirt at a store.
And then the clearance
because
rack.
most of it's like an 18
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
19
Right.
neck for a really big neck going along with a really big. And clearance rack hardly ever
Yeah, I
has
was just
any
say
of that.
clearance rack never anything.
No.
So interesting. I never knew you were
Yeah.
all torso.
Yeah. Mostly, I mean, I got long legs.
He's all
but-
torso.
So here's what's going to happen. John's going to get up after this, and he's going to walk, and you're going to be looking at him going, "Oh yeah."
He's going to be
Yeah.
analyzing
Yeah.
my.
Look at that
And then he's
torso on
going
that
to
guy.
feel a little uncomfortable that he's checking you out like that.
Because
But he's
I'm
gonna do
so
it.
much taller torso-wise, that's why when Mindy and I anchor, I have a whole seat that's a different chair than hers. It's a different type
Oh,
because
right.
it's lower. And then I even have to lower it lower just so that I'm not so much taller than her
Interesting.
sitting on the set.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
there's
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Well, how about we're an hour in? This could be the last,
Last one.
Last
Last
one.
one.
Here we go. Make it a good one.
You wanna
Or
fill-
if it's
Whoa.
not a good one, we
Oh,
may
boy.
have to fish for another one
I
because
see a
we
lot of
can't.
words there.
We should have ended maybe on a torso.
Maybe.
You don't like it?
It's a big long
It's a
one.
paragraph.
We don't listen. No French words.
I don't know. Do you want to? It's long.
What are too long?
Too long?
Too long. Let's
Too
get
long.
this thing and ban it forever.
All right. It's gone.
All
Listen,
we have is
keep
3
'em-
simple rules:
keep
no
'em short.
compliments, no French words, and no questions about birds. Is it that hard, Mike? You got to end, I think, on the strips because the.
Yeah. I don't know.
Why are you giving them all to me?
I don't know. That one's not relevant anymore.
Oh, this one's not relevant.
not
Elizabeth
relevant.
Worthington question.
yeah.
They're still in the
Not
bag,
relevant.
and she left.
Yeah.
We got to go to Ender
I don't
here.
know. I'm only.
Do we got to go to Ender?
I think maybe.
Okay, here we go.
How many of you have ever been in a police car? Now, it could be for a traffic accident or something more involved. Elaborate.
So I see what he means. When you're in a traffic car accident,
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes
You
you,
could be in a
know
police car.
you go in this police car and you have to call your insurance company. They try to calm you down. I've been in that situation.
I haven't.
Personally.
I don't. Maybe I've been in a police car just doing a story.
No,
like
stories
sitting there,
don't
something
count.
like that. But I don't. No, I don't think so.
Was in a car accident once. I wasn't driving, and the police took us back home, back to it was at a buddy's house in.
So you like as an adult, this is
maybe early 20s, maybe.
So you got to ride home.
Yeah.
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 I've been.
I don't want to be in a police car.
No.
We don't want to be in a police car.
No.
No.
I was
Ever.
I was in the police trunk one time, not really as me, but for silliness. But
And this ties nicely into the Gojo bike ride, which starts very soon.
Yeah.
The police escorts into these towns when I arrive, very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, that's not your thing.
The towns love to help me out. They got the fireworks, they got the police escorts, but it's too much drama.
Oh.
So even seeing the police car
So
escort me into town,
what would you like them to come in with? Yeah, but see, they're only doing that.
they're only doing that
Yeah.
For traffic.
Yeah, I'm trying to be. I'm
Yeah.
purging. It's like
Yeah.
confession for me here.
Wow.
I just don't like that. But hey, you're right. It's safety and it's nice support for the community.
So do they use the sirens? Woo, woo, or would you just like the lights?
Sirens, lights, they
Maybe-
do it all.
What
And
if-
here's the point of
maybe
me
just the
telling you
lights.
that blue-red light combination stresses me out.
Really? The color combination or the light combination? The
I
light.
get the adrenaline.
Yeah.
I get the stress release.
You're sweating through you're wicking through your spandex.
We've all been pulled over for speeding or something.
Yeah.
What?
And you see those lights and you
And
get
you
that
panic.
feeling. I still get that feeling throughout my bloodstream. It's like the fight or flight thing I fill up with. So please don't ever provide me with the red and blue color ever for the rest
That's
of my
interesting.
And a flashing light or a
Now I know what to put in your yard sometime.
red, blue flashing lights.
Yeah.
Makes him nervous. Well,
Wow.
it's good. It's good we brought it back to the bike ride. So good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah. Good luck.
cause.
Bike rides. And Mike, your voice is amazing. You're a good guy for coming in. We appreciate that.
Oh, thank you for
And,
having me.
hopefully we'll do it again with you.
Life
Yeah,
is good.
this was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And if you have
good
any
luck.
questions, you got to finish it. Here's the end to the whole thing. You have to tell everyone what to do.
Send your questions to brownbag@wnep.com. That's brownbag@wnep.com.
And we'll answer them in future episodes.
Dun, dun, dun.
So long, everyone.
See ya. Have a great day.
Curiosity. What are you so curious about? Everything, Mr. Curiosity.